Today in our 2007 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD Crew Cab, we're going to be installing the Timbren Rear Suspension Enhancement System, part number TG-MRCK25S. These Timbrens are designed to improve suspension handling and safety. The Timbrens are designed to become more rigid as more weight is added. As compared to some of the airbag style setups, these will work completely independently of one another to help compensate for off-center loads. They're going to provide additional support as needed so you always have a smooth ride, and they do not affect the empty ride of your vehicle. Now before we get our Timbrens installed, we're going to get two sets of measurements. The first set's going to be the standard vehicle ride height when unloaded. Then we're going to load our water tank in the back and get a second set so we can see what the ride height of the vehicle is with the load. Now without a load, we have about 30.5 inches from the ground right up to our bumper. On the front side here without a load, from the ground to our intersection of the chrome and the black bumper sections, we've got about 25.75 of an inch. Now we've loaded the truck down with about 250 gallons worth of water. This puts a load in the rear, and now we'll see what kind of measurement we get. From the 30.5 inches that we were previously, we're now down to about 26.75 of an inch. Now here at our front, we're at about 26.5 inches from the 25.75 of an inch that we originally started with. Let's head out to the test course. This is going to give us an idea of how the suspension currently works in its stock configuration. As we start by going through our slalom, this is going to show us the side-to-side movement of our vehicle with it loaded. Notice the body roll and also how the shock absorbers act as we do this. Once we go around the corner, we'll get into our alternating speed bumps. This is going to give us a better look at how the shock absorbers are used when under load. Once we get into the solid speed bumps here, this is going to show us the up and down action. Take a look at your suspension components here and how they act in this hopping motion. All right, now with the driver and the passenger side installed and all tightened down, let's go load our truck back up and get some new measurements. The measurements that we give you are going to help you to see how using this suspension enhancement will improve the level of your vehicle and make towing and hauling easier. Now if you remember, the factory ride height was 30.5 inches. When we put our water in, it brought it down to 26.75 of an inch. We now have about 29 inches to the top of our bumper. Now here in the front, when we started off, it was 25.75 of an inch to this line on our bumper. After we put our load in, about 26.5 inches. Now let's get our measurement and see where we're at. About 26.5 inches with the Timbrens installed. So as you can see with the Timbrens installed, this has us a lot closer to our factory ride height. Let's take another lap around our test course. As you'll see now as we go through the slalom, these are really helping to reduce the body roll when we're swerving. They also help with the water to compensate for off-center loads, only loading up when the load comes to that side. As we go into our alternating bumps, you'll see a lot of that shock and that side-to-side movement has gone. And once we get to the solid bumps, you can see they're actually going to act as shock absorbers, taking the brunt out of big bumps and rough roads. These are going to help to extend the life of your vehicle's suspension components by taking some of the load off of them. From the reviews that we see on our website, these are a very easy system to install. Our customers haven't really had any issues with them, and they're enjoying using them better than maybe an airbag style setup because there's virtually no maintenance for them. Now that we've seen how the Timbrens are going to work, let's go ahead and get these installed on your vehicle. Now as you can see, we're under the rear part of our truck here, and we've removed the spare tire. That's not a necessary step in the process, but in our case, filming this, it's going to make it a lot easier for us, and it might make it a lot easier for you to give you a little extra room. Now we're going to come right over here to the driver's side frame rail, and we're going to remove the jout stop that we've got located here directly over our axle. We'll remove the two bolts that are located right here on the top. As you can see with the 2 bolts removed here, it's going to come right down, right out of place. Now we'll head over to the passenger side and simply repeat that exact same process. And here you'll see everything that's going to come in the kit when you get it. We're going to have our mounting plates. We're going to have our rubber spacers. We're going to have, of course, our 2 timbrens or our 2 stops. We're going to have 4 3/8 by 1 1/4 bolts. We're going to have 4 3/8 washers and 4 3/8 nylon locking nuts. These are to mount our plate right up to our frame. And then we're going to have the choice between 1 3/4 or a 2 3/4 bolt, just depending on the application. You'll need to use the longer one or the shorter one. So you have everything you need to get it mounted. Now the Timbren, it's going to be replacing our jounce stop. Essentially, we're going to have that much added space, and as you can see, that's really going to give us an advantage when hauling or towing. Now we're right back here on our driver's side, right where we removed the jounce stop just above our axle. We've got the bracket that's labeled left front. Left is meaning the driver's side of the vehicle, and the front, of course, the front. Now we're going to use the original holes that we had, and 2 of our bolts are going to come right down through the top. We'll then place our bracket up on our bolts, place it on, and then our nut. Now, they were nice enough to leave us a slot, as you can see right here on the rear side. What you want to do is get your washer and your nut started before you install it. Because if you don't, you're just not going to have the room you need to get your nut started. So thread that up on there a little bit. We'll slide the rear in first and then bring our front up through our bolt. And just like we did there in the back, washer and that nylon locking nut. All right, now it's time to tighten it in place. For that, we're just going to need a ratchet and a wrench to hold our nut for us. Now that we've got our bracket nice and secure, let's grab our Timbren and our spacer and our bolt and get it installed. As you can see right down inside, there's a small washer there. It's a little silver washer. Now you'll want to be sure that the bolt goes through that washer. And to do that, we'll simply flip it up and over. And as you can see, that's going to bring our washer right down to the bottom. That's going to make it easy for us to slide our bolt right up and through. Then outside the top hole on our Timbren. That's when we'll bring our spacer in, put it right on top of that, and then we can install it on the truck. Now we'll use an extension to hold our bolt up there and just get it started. All right, now we've got it started, we can take our wrench and finish tightening it down. All right, that's nice and secure. Let's head over to the passenger side. Simply repeat that exact same process. With our spare tire reinstalled, that will complete today's installation of the Timbren Rear Suspension Enhancement System, part number TG-MRCK25S on our 2007 Chevrolet Silverado.